Yule has brought the company some comfort and left them with greater wisdom for the road ahead. Even greater still is the response from the free peoples at the company's call. Now the company prepares to set out on what could be their greatest test yet, and with many lives now at stake, the cost could prove insurmountable.
When last we left off, you all took care of your own Yule phase. You made some improvements, got rid of a curse, had a little housewarming party. Aranel got herself a nice horse from an old friend. And afterwards, you pled your case to your respective peoples, and most of which were receptive. But in the end, you were able to muster a sizable fighting force when you made your way to the rendezvous point, and just to the north of the Lake of Evendom. And you saw that the dwarves had shown up in force. It seems as though your presence in the halls of the dwarves really had an impact on them and their morale and their thirst to avenge their fallen brethren, exiled or not. And so, you had all set out with your forces, marched for a couple of days when, just north of Fornos de Rain, you came upon a small village. But the village itself is currently in the process of being razed by a war band of orcs. And you can see, as you approach the village, you can see that these orcs are waylaying the inhabitants of this village, several of whom remain dead. Or laid dead on the ground. Some of the orcs are dead, as well as some of the villagers have somewhat mustered to defend their homeland, but you can tell that it is a lost cause on their part. And so, with that, you all charge headlong into town. And as you do, you can hear, coming from the inside of some of these burning buildings, you can hear screams, pleas for help. You can tell that some of the front faces of the houses have fallen inward, thus preventing exit. And you would deem that if these people are going to be rescued, it is you who are going to have to do it. And your time, by your estimation, is short. And so
we're going to send Miragar to rescue everyone because he's got those fancy athletic boots. And he's super swole because of them.
And a dwarven reinforced skillet.
Exactly.
Bash in the walls with them cast iron.
Exactly.
Alright, and so you all charge headlong into town.
Alright.
And we are going to go ahead and get started. Now, what I do want to let you know is that this is going to be a bit of a hybrid.
Okay.
This is going to be a skill endeavor / battle. And so, you all are going to have a number of rounds equal to the time limit to achieve this skill endeavor. And what that means is one of you, at least one of you, is going to have to take your turn performing a skill check to accomplish something during the skill endeavor, lest you risk a failure, notwithstanding this first round.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. We get the volley, and then it's game time. Got it.
You get the volley. And so, we're going to go ahead and kick it off here. You all make your way into town. Bows strung, arrows knocked, ready to loose them at your foes, who you can see waiting for you at this main thoroughfare.
Yep.
Go ahead, Larry, it is your turn.
I'm following the same plan as last time. I'm not planning to get poisoned for this entire journey, so archers first.
All right.
It's a good call.
3 points of damage. Okay.
It's an opening volley. I'll take it.
Very good. All right, Aranel.
Alrighty. Do my scanny scan. Regular success.
So many threes.
Check bow. So I've got bonus die plus 4.
4 damage. Okay.
Regular success. Not too bad.
All right, and that goblin is taken out. 2 arrows, one to the shoulder, one to the neck. And it falls over dead. Thrush.
All right. And I apologize if I'm a little chuggy here. I'm downloading builds for work.
Okay,
No problem.
No rest for the game devs.
Nope.
Oof.
No, failure.
All right. And
It's the dice.
just as you loose your arrow, a gust of wind blows through and blows smoke into your face, choking the breath out of your lungs. And your shot goes wide. Miragar.
All right. I got this last archer. Nope.
Oh.
I almost put a hope point down. That's okay.
Much the same as Thrush, your shot goes wide. And let's see. This one has a hatred of men, so he's going to target Larry.
I think there's men inside that building.
Not with weapons.
You don't want you don't want them to target those ones.
All right, and I think he is going to just immediately. He's going to
Eat a spear.
dump some hate in there.
Ah.
Oh!
Oh! Double Gandalf!
Wow! That's incredible. Incredible. Okay.
You know, it was your turn to get one.
Yeah.
He got 2, so.
All right.
No, I'm saying his turn to get a double Gandalf, because
Oh.
a good chunk of us have gotten them.
This one doesn't hate anybody in particular, not in this party.
Wow. Wow, what a very progressive orc.
But Miragar looks the most like a dwarf, so he's going to
Whoa.
throw
Ah.
his spear at you.
Beardless dwarf, beardless dwarf.
Hold the skillet with the dwarf face. Up.
All right, and he does.
Ooh.
Damn.
All right, applying 3 points of endurance damage.
It's not too bad.
This is but a scratch.
Mm-hmm.
This one is not going to throw. You look at him and you see he is carrying a great broad-headed spear, and that is his only weapon, but he charges forward with it down at the ready. And finally, this archer is going to target, let's see, he also has a hatred of dwarves. So, Miragar, you're short.
Hey, as long as they don't get the mechanical bonus, that's fine.
Oh! Failure. All right, that was on my screen. It was teasing that Sauron. All right, so you all are free to open up your stances however you would like, as this is the beginning of round 1.
Now you said somebody has to do some sort of a skill check starting this, right?
Correct.
Would it make sense for whoever's doing that to be in a different stance? I don't know.
Well,
I'm not sure
I
what we
was
need to do.
thinking of taking the bulk of the stances just because I'm kind of not combat built.
Okay, so
or
like-
doing the skill checks. So like
You're
I
trying
guess
to open
depending-
doors or break
Yeah,
windows.
athletics
Yeah.
is the skill check that seems to make the most sense in this regard, and there's no denying that Miragar is excellent at that.
I would say athletics. I guess we get to kind of pick our own, right? As long as we have like, what are we doing? Here's what we're
As long
using,
as
right?
it
Or
makes
did you
sense.
say- yeah.
More or less, yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
you can
yeah,
see
'cause
as
I
of
was-
right now, the majority of the warband and your own forces have kind of met in another area, while you're kind of dealing with the area around here, and you can hear people kind of banging on doors and screaming for help as these houses burn.
Yeah, so I feel like obviously the first one's athletics, and then I can even do awareness as to spot the problems. You know what I mean? And then, so I got at least the first 2 rounds. You guys can focus on the combat, and I can cover the skills.
Okay. Sounds good. So first up is Larry. You guys can choose who you are engaged with. So I'm just going to move these guys over just a little bit to make
Are
room.
there enough guys that I'm forced to fight these guys? Or could I run past and kill the archer if I wanted to, just out of curiosity?
You can tell that they have currently formed a line and they are blocking your way.
Okay. Alrighty. Well,
Leave the archer to me. It'll be fine.
okay. Alright. I'd like to make a battle roll to see if I can get some advantage against these guys. And I'm thinking of kind of circling around so the fire is partially between me and one of them, so it obscures their vision.
Okay.
Get them.
Very good. Okay. So yeah, which one are you planning on attacking?
The left one, the one that's closest to fire, since that makes the most sense narratively.
Okay. Very good. And
All right.
so,
Take my
well,
bonus
you can
die.
move around, kind of around this way, narratively, while this one kind of gets into the gap.
And I'll take my bonus die for getting the advantage. And we
Success. Okay.
10 damage.
10 damage. Okay. All right, and you can see you deal a good bit of damage as you knock the wind out of this orc. Your spear kind of presses in, and you can feel a rib crack underneath as it presses into his armor. All right, anything? I think that's about all you can do. So,
Yep.
Thrush, it is your turn.
All right, with his royalty revealed thing, he's going to rally comrades as his secondary action. And we'll see if we get any successes. Nope. So, but everybody will be inspired next round, regardless of the fact you didn't get any successes. But that just means if you spend hope next round, you'll be inspired in your rolls. And then he will, I guess, let's see. It doesn't really matter a whole lot. I guess we should probably take this guy out. Who is going next, though? I suppose.
It would be Miragar.
This one.
Yeah, he is going to maneuver himself to put himself in the way,
Okay.
and he's going to attack this guy.
All right. Very good.
Right. Let's get to Mysore. And we will try and get this guy out of here. All right.
A
Gandalf.
lot of those today.
That'll do it.
Yeah. We'll do that.
Okay. 11 damage and protection roll. Let me see.
And it's ill-favored if he's an orc, right?
Yes.
Yes, he is. So that is an ill-favored protection roll. Worst. Let's see. I think he is definitely going to. My God, he is plowing through these points here.
Yes.
Oh,
Gandalf.
he is wounded. All right. So
To answer your question from earlier, Michaela, yes, always.
immediately you dodge to the side of this other orc soldier, and stab into this orc here directly in the gut, and he falls over, bleeding and gurgling.
I'm so intimidated by Thrush's new look.
Yes.
Who's this wild man?
Miragar, it is your turn.
Cool. So I'm assuming I am taking actions effectively separate from the combat choices. So the first one will be athletics.
Okay.
And that will effectively, he's going around and, helping people navigate buildings that are burning and kind of avoiding the orcs and stuff that are attacking, and sort of just being that person who is, guiding the people out, but using his natural, magically enhanced athleticism to assist in many ways. I'm going to go ahead and use a hope.
Listen, I don't think Middle Earth does testing for doping, so you're okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and use a hope point to make it a magical success, right? Just one. And that way, hopefully, I get a bunch of successes off of just success dice.
Oh my god!
Yeah!
Wow.
3.
That is incredible. Okay. Golly.
Well done, Hobbit.
Do we have an idea how many we
20.
need?
Oh my God. So you need 6.
Okay, well, that's good.
And
And we're halfway there.
first roll. You are halfway there. All right, very good. All right. Any secondary actions you want to take?
No, I'm good right now.
God, I hope there's a child that points and says, "Mommy, look, a dwarf!"
All right. Aranel, it's your turn.
Yup. Fucking Gandalf. Thank you very much.
That's quite a scan roll. Holy cow.
That's gonna be 3 bonus die on top of my plus 4.
Does Aranel have a vat?
She's got a pit boy on her arm.
Yeah, pit boy, because she just yin, you know.
We'll just do a heavy blow.
Okay.
That'll take the guy out.
All right. Yep.
Archers
and
are done.
it
Larry
is-
is no longer in danger.
gone. All right. And
I think
so, go
Gandalf knows the score. We're actually saving civilians here, not just murdering people. So he's like, "Yeah, we got to help out here. This isn't just the party."
ahead. Exactly. Okay. So, you see, after you waylay this orc, he is going to raise his fell orc axe up high, and he is going to swing it out at you, Larry.
No, we need.
Let me see. Nope, he does not have that. Okay.
No,
And he misses. You block it deftly with your shield.
he can't see through the fire. He's like, it's not sunlight, but I still hate it.
All right, and this one here is going to swing out at Thrush with his broad-headed spear.
The smoke doesn't come by, to be fair.
Boop.
Thrush is looking short.
Dagnabbit!
The ritual is working.
I feel like this is shaping up to be a competitor for that
Alright.
one other episode. This keeps up.
Okay,
Well, I think that's
so we're going to do a little bit of something here.
Get out of here with a little bit of something.
All right.
Anybody else hear a dragon in the sky?
oh no.
No, he didn't roll high enough or bad enough for that to be what
Okay.
happens to us.
Okay,
you know?
probably just a fell beast then.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
And you can see that there is a little bit of headway being made by the orcs upon your forces.
We'll have to move quickly.
And as such, let me see here. Okay. We're going to go ahead and get rid of these guys. And there are going to be a few more which join the fray.
No.
There's a lot of dice being rolled as Thrush here. It's not my fault, guys. That
He
is
got rid of the
fault.
curse. You can't blame him for any of this anymore. That's not even his dice color.
You're outing me as the big bad guy, Moss.
Sorry.
Damn it!
I mean, I
See-
guess it could vaguely look like Saruman.
Another archer make its way into the fray.
Oh, you jerk.
I like how he's immediately targeted, double targeted. It's like,
All right. And so,
And another melee combatant, apparently, which is just rude.
all right. And this guy makes his way over into the fray as well. And so, next up, it is top of the round, round 2. You guys can change up your stances if you'd like.
don't forget, if you spend a hope point this round, your roll is inspired.
You know what? I am gonna do that since you've kindly given that to me. So I can attack this guy, and yep.
Nice.
All right.
Another 10 endurance stamp. Yep, he's good.
Very nice. He is felled.
All right. I will just narratively try to interpose myself between our archer and our young hobbit friend. Make sure they can continue their work.
Well, I feel like I'm bouncing around all over the place.
Yeah, I imagine
every now and again you just hear ting, as an arrow or something gets blocked.
At this point in the fray, you can see that there are a few people running about, yelling and looking around as if unknowing what to do. They look around and they see people being felled around them, perhaps needing guidance.
I feel like Larry would probably yell out to any man, woman, or child, like, over here, there's safety over here.
Okay, and it is... Larry, was there any other action you wanted to take?
No, I don't believe there's anything else I can do.
All right. Thrush, it is your turn.
All right. So he is going to, let's see, we got the new guy, we got this guy. He's going to target this guy who has hatred of things. And he's going to attempt to take him down. Exactly. So let's see. Hope point. Be inspired. We'll use it. We just got to get these guys out of here.
Whoa.
Alright, so that is going to be, let's see, I can do this, but the feat die was only a 1, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just go into heavy blow.
Okay, and you deal quite a bit of damage as you bash him across the face. You can see a couple of their jagged teeth fly out of its mouth as you bash him across the face with the hilt of your sword.
Ugh. And that is what he will do. He will stand there, holding the line.
All right. Miragar, it is your turn.
All right, so I used athletics last turn. This time it'll be awareness. So I would say his last couple moments he was getting people out of houses, getting people out of trapped areas, and now he's sort of more orchestrating there's dwarves over there, run to them. There's humans over there, run to there. No, stay there. Stuff like that.
Okay.
With his awareness of what's going on.
If you've never seen an elf before, we have one. Come over here. Check her out. She's cool.
Exactly. And he's also going to spend a hope dice because there's no reason not to. Be inspired. Hey!
Oh,
yeah, no.
Nice.
Hide success. That gives us 2 more, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Almost there. One more success.
Yeah.
3.
Are there any secondary actions you'd like to take?
I don't really have any.
Okay, sounds good. And so, Aranel, it is your turn.
Yep. Crit success. Alrighty. Let's do all of the things.
16 dice.
Goblin is
Yeah.
good as that.
Oh my gosh.
46! That's an automatic pierce.
That is the highest roll that we've had so
That's
far.
now the newest high roll, yeah.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Screw it.
I think he's just dead, but
He is, but
Oh, he's very dead.
very dead.
that was great.
Your arrow somehow manages to take its head from its shoulders and pin it to a tree behind him.
Good stuff.
All right.
Insane.
And so this soldier, he is very much fresh, and he's going to swing his scimitar. Boop.
Where did Thrush go?
Man.
Yeah, Thrush
I
does
think maybe I got deleted.
No, I think his token went hidden. I think he just...
There we go.
There you go.
Thank you. Hi, I'm
Visibility. I forget that.
The ring all along.
I
Got my
sometimes
ring.
forget that I can see the GM side of things. I'm always like, it's right there. I'm like, oh, because it's token visibility is up.
I accidentally put the ring on. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, don't do that. You hear a
Stole from
scream
below.
coming from down the road.
Just point over at the Hobbit.
All right, Larry, this one is going to lash out at you with everything it has. All right, that'll do it. He doesn't get a pierce by any stretch of the imagination, but he does deal 5 points of endurance damage.
Okay, not a problem. Can apply that. Good thing my stuff weighs less now, so I have more room to take damage.
All right. There you are. All right, and so you can hear the battle raging behind you.
Oh no.
Good.
That's not good. Okay. And you can see that as this is all going on, your forces are being pushed back ever so slightly. But you can tell that they seem to be, they still seem to be in good spirits. However, they are being pushed back. And so...
This is all deja vu, by the way. I want to know how it turns out. Play it in my head here.
And you see 2 orcs still join the fray from beyond.
Every
It looks like an archer, but sure.
every archer, Aranel's just like, how many times do I have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Here, let's delete this guy real quick. Alright. And so, you guys are lucky I've been rolling low on those. Golly, it sucks. Alright. And so, looks like Thrush has put himself into forward stance. So, Thrush, it is your turn.
All right, we are going to attempt to take this one out to get him out of here. All right.
Yeah,
Yep.
that'll do it.
That might work.
Nice.
I figured it was, I might as well just do the heavy blows instead of trying to get there and do the pierce. I'm like, this way, he's just down.
Yeah. Easily enough, you're able to remove this orc's head from its miserable torso.
Okay. That is all he's doing.
All right. Larry, it is your turn.
Alright. I trust Miragar can get one more success, so I will continue combat. I will attempt a battle roll to get an edge against this guy.
Okay.
This guy, I'm probably just trying to kick into that, like, bunch of flowers over there. I don't know, maybe some roses that have thorns or something in there.
Yeah, you can see that these are thick rose bushes rife with thorns, and you kick him square in the chest. He falls backwards and gets stuck in these thorn bushes. You can see as he stands up, his skin is just riddled with scratches and cuts from these thorns.
Great success being 2?
Mm-hmm. That'll be, you got a great success on that, that'd be 2.
Alright.
Nice. That's what I thought.
Alright.
Okay. Let's see. He going to spend 8, and he is going to add 1 to his protection roll. Don't screw this up.
Damn it!
Okay, he is protected. However, he does take 6 points of damage.
And a lot of dignity damage from those thorn scratches.
All right. And so, Miragar, as you're kind of directing people around, you find yourself listening in, and there is someone still stuck in one of the houses. You enter in, and you can see that this area is almost completely blocked off, and you can see just beyond the flames and the smoke rising, it chokes you. It chokes the air right out of your lungs, and you can see this a young girl just beyond, kind of huddled up in a corner. What do you do?
Well, this actually falls in line with what my next thing was going to be anyway, because I was going to do an explore roll, and it was going to be going back and looking for people who were trapped.
Okay, perfect.
So, exploring our way out of this situation, I guess.
Very good.
What's going to happen here?
Yes.
There it is. All right. Success, and that was yeah, you got 2 successes. That'll do it.
Our trusty little hobbit.
Very nice. That is a successful skill endeavor. And you would guess that as you make your way out, you usher this young girl over to her parents, which are kind of waiting in the wings behind kind of a battalion of troops. She runs over them, and you are faced with orcs yet still. So, any bonus actions you'd like to take?
I guess would firing a firework off like at one of these guys count as a secondary action to help whoever attacks them? Because that's normally, I think, an action, right, to use an item.
Yeah.
Okay. Nope. I don't have really anything else.
Okay.
I can use then.
All right, Aranel.
Yep. Great success. 2 of those. +4.
Okay, definitely
not enough for Pierce, but not letting Larry get poisoned again, okay?
It's very inconvenient, it has to be said. Especially on a journey this long. Right at the beginning? No.
And so, this one is lashing out with its scimitar at Thrush yet again. He's going to get a bonus die. Ho!
Oof.
Oh.
Yeah, that is going to be 12 points of endurance damage to you, Thrush.
Ouch.
All right. And so
That's gonna hurt.
that's a good hit, a fine hit. And this one is going to lash out at Larry.
I like that number. Enough.
Oh!
Dang it.
Nice.
I root for you guys, but I want it to be a challenge. That's all I ask. I just want it to not be a cakewalk. That's all I want. Is just not a cakewalk. Okay. So he lashes out at you, and you definitely bash him back to the side with your shield. All right. And at this point, the skill endeavor is over. You can see that the orc troops are currently in retreat. So no further orcs are going to join your fray. You can see that your troops have begun chasing after these other orcs, as the orcs are clearly outnumbered, and they begin chasing them afield. And so, just to finish it out, if anybody wants to change their combat stances, they are more than welcome.
Nope. I'm quite comfortable back here, thank
Can I
you.
change to super double rearward?
Aranel goes into
Super double
forward
rearward?
stance.
Yeah, super double rearward is a that sounds like a skateboard trick actually.
Yeah.
I was thinking Animal House, but
Yeah.
that's good. Good too.
All right,
Listen to him,
so
he's pretty mad.
if everybody is good, Thrush, it is your turn.
All right, we're gonna try and end this guy. Let's see. What did he get on the die? He only got a 2, so it'll be just a heavy blow.
All right, and he takes 11 points of damage, just barely hanging on as you come across and you slice him across the back of the knee. Larry.
Try to kick this guy in the bush again. Not this time. He learned from last time. That's
Yeah, unfortunately. You see he leans forward and braces himself with a rearward foot, and he is now seemingly an immovable object, unless you are deft with your spear, which it seems you are.
Pierce.
Let's see. Come on now. Let's see. He doesn't have... Ooh. Nope, he's going to keep that for now. He's going to keep that for now. And
Is he?
to no avail. Yeah. He is Dunsky.
Alright, I probably just kind of kick him off my spear and in the bushes and like, that's where I wanted you to stay. Now please stay there.
Look at you, always so polite, even to your enemy. Alright, Miragar.
I think I'm just gonna.
Operation Protect Rush.
Yeah, that's pretty much the next. Just gonna roll that athletics.
Protect me like I'm a little girl in a burning building.
Oh yeah. So the next attack against him will lose 2 dice.
Okay. Very good.
If there's another attack against him.
Yeah,
If there's
that's
another
a big
attack.
fat if.
But I'd rather him be protected than not,
Regular success. Nope.
Gonna send his head over to join his friends on the tree.
It's looking that way.
I believe that's an auto pierce. It is. So.
Yeah, I don't think there's no buts about it. I mean, I think this guy's Dunskies.
It's double Dunskies.
Yep. All right, and so your enemies have been felled. You can see your forces chasing them across the lone lands, and eventually it gets to a point where they turn back as the orcs continue across the lone lands at a high pace. You can see that it looks as though a plume of smoke-like clouds
Dust.
covers the sun to ease their passage back east. And so,
Larry's going to join the bucket brigade if people need that to put out the fires.
yeah, absolutely. You can tell that there are a few people who have run around and have started grabbing buckets and running to the well and getting water and trying to quench these fires.
And then he's going to try to enhearten people, which just kind of let everyone know help has arrived, that you're safe, that now we just have to save the town from the elements.
All right, and you can see that people, as they run back and forth with their buckets, a few other people begin gathering up the dead and kind of lining them up. You can see that eventually the fires do get put out, but not without loss, as though some of these houses have been, unfortunately damaged beyond further use. Not necessarily beyond repair, but beyond further use. And so, with the fires out, you can still see some of the ruins continuing to smolder and the smoke rising up to the sky. You can see that as these villagers have lain their dead out, you can see that there's probably about a dozen people who have unfortunately met their end as a result.
Also gonna restore endurance because I wasn't wounded.
Okay, very good. Is there anything else that anybody would like to do?
I think just continuing with whatever needs to be done. Miragar
Yeah.
would be doing.
Remove the orc bodies from the village. Thrush will
Yeah.
work with the rangers or whoever helps to do that to get them out of here.
I mean, Larry will just look for anyone who looks like a mayor or some kind of town leader just to kind of start asking you everything that happens.
All right, and so you said that you are gonna approach
for a
the
mayor, an
mayor.
elder, whatever. Yeah.
Okay, and eventually you ask around, and you can eventually you come to somebody named an individual named Edward Brockton, Mayor Edward Brockton,
Okay.
and you can see his face is just covered in soot. And Miragar, you recognize him as one of the people who you actually helped out of one of the houses. He straightens up, coughs, as it seems as though there's a little bit of smoke still left in his lungs. But he addresses all of you and says, "Many thanks for your efforts there. It seems as though we were goners, if not for the good fortune of you and your..." And he looks around and looks at all of your forces and says, "Army."
Yes, we are actually looking for the source of these orcs. They've been plaguing people all across Eriador, and we've decided that a united force to figure out what they're up to is necessary.
Seems as though news travels slowly during winter. From what I've heard, they've scoured all sorts of villages across the lowlands.
Well, apologies that it took us so long to get organized.
It is not your fault. In fact, it is because of you all that the rest of us here still live.
Yes.
Is there anything that we can do to repay you?
I mean, just if you'd allow our forces to maybe set up camp outside your village to rest for the day.
Yes,
after a hard-fought battle, and if we have any wounded, we'll see if there's any supplies you can spare to help treat them. Obviously, take care of your own people first.
Of course, yes, of course. You're more than welcome to anything that we have left anyway. In fact, we'd rather you remain here than move on.
Yes, well, as much as we'd like to, we do have a task at hand. Perhaps I can see if perhaps some volunteers will stay to help at least protect your village, but we have quite the task ahead, unfortunately.
I see. Well, no doubt it'll better at least our situation here in the long run.
Yes.
And so, given that you had saved so many, you all will gain 1 hope back.
Yes.
And you look back to your own forces, and you can see it looks like they have taken some casualties of their own. It looks as though probably about 20 have unfortunately met their end. But
Is there anyone wounded enough that they can't continue on with us, that we need to leave at the village, or...
you come across 7 individuals who've got great cuts and gashes across them, some with stab wounds, some with helmets that have been almost caved in, have great dents in the side. If you want, you are more than welcome to attempt to assist them. If anybody wants to use like a medicine roll or anything.
I can do a healing roll.
Okay.
Let's see.
Success. Great success. Okay. So with that, you make your way around these wounded individuals, and some of the wounds are far too grave for you to hope in quickly mending. However, there are a few which you're able to quickly mend, at least somewhat relieve some of the pain with your tonics and balms. And 2 of them are able to continue along with you.
Oh, excellent. I suppose we can leave them here if the people are okay with taking care of them.
Yes.
I mean, it might not be a bad idea to do that anyway, and sort of that might bolster the city's morale too if we leave.
Yeah, leave a couple
contingent to kind of
attendants as well. Yeah,
patrol the area, not necessarily just stick here, but kind of go to the neighboring villages and make this kind of a if you're in need type situation.
Yeah, and gather information too, because they mentioned there are other villages that were damaged, so it's probably not a bad idea to get that information.
I feel like Larry probably turned to Thrush and be like, if you can get one of your rangers to maybe lead some of my Bree landers, since your people are more familiar with that sort of work, could act as a sort of officer for them. I doubt the dwarves will want to leave their forces here.
Go talk to the leader and see what she has to say.
Yes. Larry will probably ask for a few volunteers from the Brelanders and let them know that a ranger's going to help them.
Okay. Sounds good. And how many are you asking for? You can tell, let me preface it by saying this, that you can tell that they look upon you with an air of leadership, and they will more than likely, unless you ask them to march one by one off a cliff, they will more than likely
how about 2 by 2
follow. 2 by 2, it's still a stretch, but they might do it. But you can tell that they will honor whatever you think is best.
Well, I'd say maybe 10 people, including the 7 wounded. Once they're healed up, they can stay here, and then the 1 ranger to lead them, so 11 people total.
Okay.
That seems like
If we want to do a dozen.
Okay, fine, a dozen.
Okay. Let me make some adjustments here.
Just don't make an unlucky 13.
Right.
Baker's dozen. So yeah, 11 Brelanders. Well, including the 7 wounded people. Once they recover, they can stay here as the patrol. And a ranger to act as sort of an officer.
Okay. Very good. And you can see that the villagers, as they make their way about, they kind of gather what few things that they have. Some of their homes are still standing, and you can see some of the villagers who've had their homes burned down gather up their possessions, at least what was dear to them, and begin moving them into other houses which are still standing. They coordinate with each other to try and at least make the best out of a terrible situation. But overall, you've made...
Pumpkins catch fire.
The pumpkins should not be there, as this is like March. So,
Aw.
yeah, pay no heed to the pumpkins behind the curtain.
Nice. Now, Thrush is going to go talk to Aranel and say, I know you've been occasionally leaving things behind, but I have a bit of money as well. Do you think it would be important or wise to do so here after you get attacked by a dog?
Well, it definitely wouldn't hurt. They've lost quite a bit.
Okay.
It might not be something that is needed now.
Right. On the way back, possibly. If we need to see the extent of everything that's going on. I'm mostly gauging reaction, because money doesn't hurt, but it doesn't exactly help in this situation yet.
Right.
Perhaps on the way back, once they've had time to take inventory of what they might need to rebuild.
Mm-hmm. Luckily,
And what supplies maybe are
winter.
And maybe what supplies our men have used to kind of help recoup for that.
And
Good
now
points.
Larry sends a carrier pigeon to the Rushlights, being like, guess what? War's good for business. No.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're not wrong.
Add this settlement to your routes. We've got more business.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, do you make your intention to... I'm sorry, I was looking at something. The conversation about leaving them with some money, is that going to happen on the way back, or are you going to leave them with some money now? What's...
Probably on the way back.
On the way back?
Yeah.
Okay.
They probably need time to inventory and figure out what they need.
Okay. Sounds good. And so, the day passes, sun sets, and night comes. You can still see just the very faintest red glow of smoldering wood on the foundations of some of these homes. As the rest of you set up camp, you can see a large number of tents being set up as your forces have taken to rest. And with that, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Greetings, tavern goers, and thank you all for watching this Tales from the Dragon's Tavern production. We wanted to take a few seconds to let you know that we have just launched our first paid tier for our Patreon page. If you like battle maps, regional maps, or anything in between, you can take part in our first tier as a tavern regular. For only $2 a month, you can take advantage of all of the maps made on stream during Saturday morning map making. Fear not, young tavern goer. The free tier is still available, and every episode will be posted there for your enjoyment as well. We here at the tavern appreciate your patronage, no matter what your tab is. Thank you once again. Now let's get back to our show. And we are back as the sun comes up yet again. The troops are packing up all of their belongings, loading them onto horses, and getting ready for travel that very next day. The previous day's events in your journey thus far has incurred 2 points of fatigue on all of you.
All right.
I'm just going to go ahead and ignore them because I can now.
Oh, that's right.
I forgot about
You're
that.
just better than us.
Okay.
So Thrush is gonna.
You just forgot to get tired, honestly.
All right.
Did you ever tell Michaela what Aranel's new horse's fatigue rating is?
It's 2.
2.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But have we gotten fatigue since Yule started?
No.
Okay. I didn't reset that then.
Yeah, I realized that. I didn't reset that
okay.
It should have been reset.
Yeah.
2. so it's fine.
Yeah, we're all at 2 now.
I feel really tired all of a sudden.
I had a really active Yule.
I mean, you did move into a new house. To be fair.
I did.
And you said my horse is +2?
Yeah, 2 vigor.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 vigor. So whenever we roll to remove you, just get 2 off by default from the horse, and
Beautiful.
then whatever you get on the travel roll, you tack onto that.
All right. And so, as you all pack up all of your belongings, you kind of coordinate your troops around. You coordinate the people who are staying back. You can see that the orcs which had assaulted this town just the day before had left a very plain and obvious trail for you to follow. Not only were they not only did it seem like they were careless in their approach, but it seems like they were careless in their retreat as well. And so, with that, you all seem to have a clear path.
Excellent.
And
well,
everyone
I know what we're following.
sets forth. Thrush, I would have you give me a travel roll very quickly.
It's a very good thing he has maps.
Exactly. I'll add the die for the maps.
I like how you-
Do I need
you
to
just-
add anything for the path?
No.
Okay. Success.
As you travel along, you realize that this village was kind of tucked in to what looks to be the kind of the foothills of the North Downs, the northern edge of the Weather Hills. And as you traverse forth, you cross into a land fraught with terrible terrain, muddy trenches, and very well-worn roads that seem to have been lost in time. However, you follow the trail, and it seems as though these orcs have made their way north along the North Downs and cut through what looks to be a vale between 2 hills. These tracks are still relatively plainly obvious. However, it seems over the last 2 days that cloud cover has brought with it a cold rain, which fills in some of the footprints of these orcs and makes the terrain soppy and muddy. For our first event, we are in Darklands, and thus the roll yielded ill choices. And so, the target of this event is going to be Larry as our hunter. So Larry, as you're kind of moving about between these 2 hills in this vale, you can see that the trail continues forward. However, it seems as though there is a bit of a split in the trail of these orcs.
All right.
And so I need a hunting roll from you to determine which of these is correct.
All right. I'll throw a hope on that. Nice.
Nice.
Very good. Okay. And so, as you do, you kind of look around and you can see, you kind of parse down one trail and you can see what look to be stone markers. Stone markers in a language which you don't really recognize. And as you go further down them, you sense that there is a bit of a fell presence in these lands. It's hard to parse. It's hard to suss out, but you would sense that going down this trail would lead to probably no good.
All right.
But you circle back and make your way back down the correct path, and thus avoid taking any shadow points. However, you do take 2 points of fatigue as the party trudges through this muck and mire.
It's just for me, right?
That's everybody.
Oh, that's everyone? Sadness.
I'm
At least
gonna
we avoided
reduce
the
that by
shadow, though.
1.
Yeah, I feel like as we're like kind of going between these hills, there's like, because we're going between like 2 hills more or less, right?
Yeah.
Larry's like scanning, making like looking around, making sure there's like no ambush. Because being on the low ground between 2 hills, not great.
Yeah, definitely not. And as you traverse down, you can see that the recent rains have brought fast-flowing streams of cold water across your path. Not too wide, so as though you lose track of your quarry, but you can tell that it is definitely an impediment to your travel. And as such, Thrush, I am going to need yet another travel roll, if you please.
All right. With maps, let's see what we get this time. Oh, success, but no great success.
No great successes. Okay, so you can see that this trail cuts a path through the North Downs and makes its way due east. You travel for 3 days through soppy and muddy ground. And just on the eastern edge of the North Downs, you can see the rain has come down, tumbled down the hills, and made its way down and formed some sort of a rugged marsh that is proved difficult to traverse. And as such, this next event has generated a mishap with a target of the scout. And so as you are traversing along this route, you can see that the troops behind you are getting tired. They're very slow moving. It seems as though they have begun to slow pace, especially trying to trudge through in their boots, in their waterlogged boots through this nasty bog. Miragar, I'm going to need an explore roll to see if you can find a safe way through these marshes.
Should we be seeing the token moving, by the way?
Do you not? Oh,
well,
you know what?
Gandalf.
Yeah, for me, it's still about Fornost.
You know what? I'm moving it on my map, and it's not moving on yours. That's my bad. So right now, you've traversed about to here for the first travel event test, and now you follow the trail all the way to here.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, my apologies. Okay, and so with that, Gandalf rune, automatic success. You travel around these bogs, and you can hear, as night sets in, you can hear the Knickerbreakers come out and begin creaking in your ear, almost driving you mad. But you are able to find your way out of this bog and across into some more solid ground. And that is going to incur yet another 2 points of fatigue on all of you.
Don't mind that. I just put a placeholder marker where that village was, so you for later.
Okay. All right. And at this point, as you all kind of set up camp, you can hear the Knickerbreakers behind you just creaking and almost into their horrible high-pitched tone, almost turning into a drone, this ever-present drone that drives your senses mad. Aranel, your brother comes up to you and just approaches you and sits down by the fire and says, I don't know, is this what you've been doing this entire time?
Well, not this exactly, but similar, yes.
Nothing so elaborate.
This is not quite what I expected.
Did you think it was glorious adventures?
Well, the felling of orcs is... I mean, it's fun in its own right. Seeing all of... And he looks back at the troops kind of camped out behind you. Many of them were afraid for their lives. Well, I'm still young. I still have outlived most of them. Seen more winters.
Yes, it's something I've had to come to terms with as well.
Lives of us mortals are complicated in their own way.
I find no comfort in watching them die. I thought this would be much more glorious. I hear tales of the elves of old doing battle with the likes of Morgoth and I expected something similar, but this is... I wish I had the words to describe it, but I do not.
I understand.
Well, war and combat is it's never what it seems to be. I would argue the glory comes more from knowing that the innocents that are unable to defend themselves are the ones who don't have to deal with what we're doing.
Perhaps that is something that I've been missing. It seems as though he looks behind him at all the troops again. They all have something that they're fighting for. Something they believe in. As I'm here because I wanted the sense of adventure, and not for lack of trying to get me to stay by mother and father, but yes, I'm missing seems a vital ingredient.
I would tell you that no true great warrior goes seeking war. The best warriors are the ones who take up arms because they know there's no other choice and that people require them to do so. Glory is all well and good, but truly having something worth fighting for, that's what makes all this violence mean something truly.
I expected not so much wisdom to come from the mouth of a man.
Oh,
But it seems as though I, as a young elf, even can be surprised.
well, us mortals have to do quite a bit of living in a very short amount of time. Some of us succeed and others fail, but we don't have the luxury of many opportunities.
Perhaps it is the shortness of the lives of men that led to such great kingdoms as your kin had built.
Perhaps. Although, granted, we were a bit longer lived in the past from what I've heard. At least some of us. Turns to Thrush.
I'm but 25 years old.
Yeah, true enough, but I know your kin can live a bit longer than, well, my kin.
True. Just not as long as her, but
Well,
Well, it seems as though I have some thinking to do.
Of course.
Take my leave.
well, please, if you need anything from any of us at all, just let us know.
He puts his fist to his chest and bows and makes his way. And you can see he makes his way up to the top of a hill, and he kind of looks out over the plains in a starless sky. You can tell that the clouds, ever since you reached that village, have not parted. And so, you all go to sleep. Is there anything you need to do as you take this rest? Restore hope points or anything?
no, I think I'm good.
Aranel will just keep an eye on her brother and just
Eh,
make sure he's not gonna spiral.
yeah.
Because that's
And-
not gonna do anyone.
Larry probably kind of whispers under his breath, it's like, war has come, and all of its terror and its glory. I'm just kind of nods and gets ready for bed.
Rush is going to go up to him while he's sitting up there for the last thing of the night and offer him the pipe and just sit with him for a bit. And then the only thing he's going to say to him is that I understand it's a little more difficult for you. Because if you fall, you lose eternity. For us, we only lose a few decades. It's still everything, but we understand. Not everyone needs to be out here fighting. The reason some of us are out here fighting is to protect those who are back home, doing all the things that we're trying to protect.
You see, he takes a few puffs of the pipe and gives it a strange look. You can tell that he's not used to this kind of thing. And he looks at you and gives you a nod and says, you all have given me quite a bit to think about. And I shan't forget it. Even just these past few weeks has contained more lessons in it than I have learned in some decades.
Well, your sister's a special person, and so is the group that we're with. I'm glad you're able to learn something.
That he gives a nod and hands the pipe back to you.
Take the pipe back and go to sleep.
All right. And so you all wake up the next morning, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. Clouds still have not yet parted, and a mist draws up over the bog behind you. Mr. Guide, I would take yet another travel roll from you if you would.
All right, since we're getting into kind of messy terrain, he is going to use a hope point here to try and get us through some of this because people are flagging and starting to get tired.
Okay.
There we go.
Very
Nice.
nice.
Extraordinary success. Okay, so that's 5 days of travel that you're able to succeed on. So, you travel across the lone lands of Rudour for 5 days. 3 days in, you see that the trail cuts north just a tad. And it seems as though your quarry has headed toward the northern edge of the Etten Moors, perhaps even north of Mount Graham. And you continue traveling along over streams and rocky ground when our fourth event has produced a joyful sight.
Ooh.
And so, Larry, as you're kind of scouting about, trying to make sure that you're able to keep the trail of your quarry, you come across a very sweet scent. You follow it into a tree line and follow it down a little ways. You feel as you've come across an orchard with fruits untouched by neither pest nor rot.
Huh. Is it almost kind of like an oasis, or?
At this point, as you look about, you can see that the leaves themselves are rather abnormally green. The fruit, as I said, is untouched. The apple's bright red, and you can see there's these bushes with this small golden fruit. You rush back to the party and in an attempt to tell them about it. And as you all make your way back towards the trailhead, which Larry had found, it seems as though perhaps the glade has almost shielded itself from you. However, you don't feel as though it's unable to be found again. I'm going to need you to give me another hunting roll, if you please.
All right, well, I'm definitely spending a hope point on this one.
Yes. Please. Oh no.
Ah, darn. So many ones, no.
It seems as though whatever orchard was hiding behind these trees is perhaps a sacred place. If any of you want to give me lore rolls, you're more than welcome to.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, both Aranel and Thrush. You can recall tales of elves kind of setting apart little glades and orchards for their own isolated use. However, the magic of the elves tends to shield things from prying eyes. And you feel as though if Larry's tale holds true, perhaps this is a very similar case. But the good news is that even just the knowledge of the fact that elves may have been here, may have sanctified this place, hallowed it, as it were, you gain no additional fatigue.
Yay.
So, future notes. Send the elf to find the elf place.
Yes.
The fact I even found it as a mere mortal was probably a fluke.
Probably.
So you said that was what was that considered? A joyous sight?
That was a joyful
Yep.
sight. Mm-hmm.
Ah, very cool.
Yeah.
I like those.
Yeah.
Let's get
We
more.
need to roll more of those. That'd
Yeah.
be great.
I'm on board. If you guys are on board, I'm okay with rolling more of this.
Well, I'd be happy to have more of those, but unfortunately, that's up to Moss.
That's all on you, my friends. That is all on you. All right. And so, Mr. Guide, if you could give me yet another travel roll.
All right.
This time he's going to roll 20 days of travel in one room.
I'm going to, because we want to get going here, I'm going to spend a hope point. Do it.
Gandalf.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
A Gandalf rune and a couple Tengwar runes. I think that's pretty
Is
good.
Couple
pretty
sixes, yeah.
good, yeah. Okay, and you are able to travel across the rocky and barren ground. You can feel the air getting colder as you travel northward. The grass seems to deaden as you make your way north, but you travel north for not but 2 days when the trail ends. And before you see a great fort off in the distance. You can see that the walls seem to be of mannish make, but they have begun to crumble. They are surrounded by these red thorny weeds, which surround it, making traversal of the walls seem impossible. But the doors itself seem hard and strong. A few of the walls look to have some breaches from battles past, but have since been shorn up with piles of rocks and debris, and a singular tower which stretches high above the walls. Large fell spikes jutting out from the top seem to be of much newer make, but of much more ill make, perhaps built by evil men or orcs many years ago. And so, as you approach, you see Floki comes up to you all. And he says, "Aye. Do you think that's it? Rath Sereg."
Well, the trail we've been following more or less ends here, so there's a good chance of that.
And at least it's not where I was feared we were headed to.
I don't know if I would have enjoyed going even further north.
Either way, I'm not sure I like the look of it.
Now, yeah, regardless of whether it's our destination or not, it is an obstacle.
Well, perhaps, I don't know, perhaps I can get a couple of dwarves to scout it out and see what we can do.
If you have dwarves that are very light of foot and excellent at scouting, by all means.
I don't know if I'd say that much. Very heavy in the foot.
Well, a nice elven maiden here is quite deft at stealth. She could scout it out, and so could I.
And I'll also look at the rangers and just kind of nod at them.
Okay, you can see that some of them begin stringing up their bows and wiping off their swords. Let me
Is there
get
any
this.
like roll or anything we can make to determine what this place exactly is? Like, since it's
Yeah.
clearly supposed to be an old mannish fort, right?
Yeah, if you wanted to give me a lore roll, you are more than welcome to.
I was just gonna Leroy Jenkins, but okay, all rolls.
Leroy Jenkins.
Oh, look at that!
Fucking
Hey, look at that! I love it.
Oh, Aranel's
Okay. Aranel,
It's all the books.
strangely enough, you know about this while Thrush seems to have forgotten knowledge of the,
He spent too much time in the
Little
woods.
brain.
Sereg. So you would know that Rath Sereg was once a mighty, mighty fortress guarding the southern approaches to the capital of the Witch King at Carn Dûm. At its height, thousands of soldiers, both men and orcs, dwelt here. Stranger creatures bred by the Witch King's sorcery lurked in the dungeons below. You know that the fortress itself was actually not recently emptied, but Before the Battle of Fornost in 1975 of the Third Age, there was only a handful of sentries that were left behind. And you would know that Prince Earner of Gondor had ordered that the fortress be put beyond use. There's no time for even skilled sappers of Gondor to level Rath Sereg, but they collapsed much of the underground cellars and dungeons, breached the walls in a few places, and set such a blaze in the main keep that the very stone itself melted. And so, it laid abandoned for centuries. Until recently. As now, as you gaze upon it, it seems as though it is teeming with activity. And you can see the strategic advantage of this fortress lies in its foundation. You can see that it rests upon what looks to be a leveled cliff face, almost inscalable cliffs which surround it, with only a single path upwards towards its main gate. The walls itself stand probably 20 feet high, and as you look upon it, you can see that there are archers surrounding the walls at every corner and along every wall. And so, do you both intend to scout it out? Who all intends to scout this out?
He will volunteer because he's got a fancy ring that helps with it.
I think all of us should probably go on this.
Are you stealthy, though?
Fine. Stealthy. I
mean,
can
I got-
stealth.
Yeah, I mean, I got 2 blips in it, and I can always use a hope point.
He can avoid being seen if he wishes, but to disappear
Wow.
entirely, that's a rare gift.
I found this ring in our last thing.
Hey, I borrowed this from,
snooping
I
around
took this from
Bilbo,
Bilbo. He's being weird about my plants and not wanting to give them up, so I took something from him just in case as collateral.
Very wise.
All
So,
right,
yeah,
so
I mean, I guess we're all going.
I guess.
Good news, I have a success die I can give away.
okay.
Just to be safe, I'll use a hope. I don't think I need it, but
I might need it, so I'm gonna roll with one.
Oh no, I got it.
I had a 10 on that die, but then it fell
well,
over to a
hey,
2.
Larry had a free 6.
Yep,
Hey.
I have a donation I can make to the Thrush Foundation.
Hey, I got a 2 on my feet die again. That's like the third, fourth time? I don't know. I'm good at that.
All right. And so, you feel as though under the cover of this such a dense cloud, you feel as though you can stick to the shadow at least well enough to remain unseen.
I'd
So-
probably stand very close to Thrush, hoping the aura of my ring will affect him too, to help him out.
Okay. And so, if you all would like to move about, you're more than welcome to. Just let me know where. Just move around and whatever you're looking for, I'll see if, or I'll describe it to you.
I think I'm just sticking
I feel like
close
this
to...
is a trap.
And as you approach the main gate, you can see that there is a blood trail which leads into the main gates, which now look to be made of strong oak banded with fell black iron, and they remain closed. You can see up on top of the gatehouse are 3 archers keeping watch. It looks as though they've got 2 braziers lit up and ready to go should any enemies be afoot.
And I'm guessing this blood is very much mannish or mortal. It's not like...
You can tell that it's not orcish blood.
Okay. That's what I was getting at. All right. I think they've been bringing people here, if this is any indicator. That or they went on a massive hunt and brought in quite a few animals, but this is not orcish blood. Where's the move to the north? Kind of sticking around this cliff face so that's between him and them, so you can kind of sidle up next to it and block line of sight from the archers while he navigates.
Okay.
Just kind of poke my head up every now and again just to see if I can see anything of value.
Okay. And as you make your way around, you begin to see the makings as the incline in the terrain goes up to a point where it would make it almost unclimbable, or at least a laborious task to climb. You can see rocks piled up in what looks to be a gap in a wall. And it looks as though the gap has been fortified. You can see these sharpened logs, which are pointed outward, almost to prevent entry from the outside.
Well, at least we're not doing a cavalry charge.
Yeah, but they'll funnel over anyone on foot just the same.
Yes. Does this part with the rocks seem weaker, though?
Yes, you can tell that this is actually a gap in the walls.
Okay.
This gap has been piled up high, almost to the level of what the normal wall itself is. So it would require a decent climb to get up.
Okay.
But it does seem definitely more traversable than the walls themselves.
Okay. Keep kind of rounding the bend against the cliffside just to see if anything else of note appears.
Okay. And as you come around, you can see that there are even archers still. It seems as though every inch of this wall is covered by the eyes of some sort of archer as they look out and peer across the land.
Yeah. Alright.
Give me a quick awareness roll, if you would.
Okay.
Anyone?
Anyone, yeah.
Anyone? Okay.
Glad I looked that up.
Okay.
Miragar knows all.
I'm really good at rolling low. I mean, average.
Okay. As you round this northern edge, you can hear the sounds of chittering and high raspy voices coming from what sounds to be a tunnel.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll like kind of tug on Thrush and tap his head and kind of point down. Be like, I think they're tunneling.
And you
I
would
can
guess
hear
that wherever it is
scratching.
somewhere probably around this point up there.
There might be a tunnel up ahead.
All right. Need to be extra careful then.
Alright. I kind of follow Miragar's instructions to see if I do find a tunnel of some sort while being very, very subtle.
Okay. And as you kind of round this little jutting out of stone, you can see what looks to be a dug hole, almost bored into the rock itself with crude pickaxes. And you can see this very narrow tunnel, almost Hobbit-sized, maybe a little larger, juts into the rock, and you can hear the sounds of. It's hard to enumerate just how many voices you hear coming from the inside, but it sounds like whoever is housed in there, there are quite a few.
Do they sound like they're orcs or goblins, or do they sound like other...
They sound distinctly like orcs and goblins.
Okay. So not any sort of prisoner quarters then?
Just maybe another entrance into the fort, or maybe
Perhaps.
securing a tunnel that they found.
Well, as Aranel said, the Gondorians tried to destroy this place previously. Perhaps they're trying to dig out the old tunnels. For what purpose, I'm not sure. I guess
Get
just
some
have...
protection from the sun.
That's probably a fair point. I don't know if this is really a path for us, though. It seems like it'd be difficult.
True, but we'd be able to assault them from more than one direction, and they wouldn't be able to surround us if we attacked the front and they came out the side. We'd know they were coming.
And we can always, send the dwarves this way.
Well, they do like their holes and their mines.
It is small enough.
I look at her. Oh, I thought you said smells enough. I understand. Small enough.
I mean, Larry will kind of try to poke his head through, but there's probably no light, really, so he probably not going to be able to see much.
Yeah, at this point, when you kind of peek your head in, you look down this tunnel, you can hear the echoes, and it sounds like whatever orcs are in here, the voice bounces off the walls several times before it reaches you. So you would guess that this tunnel system underneath this fortress is relatively vast. But as such, you can't actually spy any lights coming from within.
Okay.
Miragar kind of looks around and goes, do you want me to go in the tunnel a couple feet and see if I can see anything?
I mean, yeah.
Find anything?
There's no harm in just sticking your feet in a little bit and checking, but this is...
No harm?
Well, as long as he doesn't go through the entire cave network by himself.
Just try not to walk like me.
I could do that, and then Miragar will, I don't know, he'll venture 10, 15 feet into the tunnel.
Okay.
Unless, he runs into something.
Before he
first.
steps in, I probably kind of grab Miragar. I'm like, watch your step, watch for any maybe cables or rope or something that could be a tripwire.
I'll be careful.
All right.
Okay. And so you venture in 10 or 15 feet. As you enter in, the temperature is noticeably colder and the smell is rank. You can smell the smell of rot and fresh blood, but it's hard to tell what kind of blood it actually is. It's just this coppery iron smell that stings the nostrils. But you feel as though if you want to glean any sort of additional information, you'll probably have to venture further in.
Yeah, I guess at this point I will venture far enough to where I can either see some light on the other side, you know what I mean? Like, until I know there is an end to this tunnel, and then kind of, obviously not passing the threshold, but just staying far enough away to maybe hear something or be able to tell what it is.
Sounds good. And you can see, as you venture in, you probably get 30, 40, maybe 50 feet inside as you round a curve. And you can see just ahead of you, the path curves off to the left. And you can see a faint flickering coming from another room. You can hear voices coming from the other side that sound like orcs.
And does this tunnel feel as if it was excavated, or does this feel more like a natural tunnel?
Let's see, what would you roll for that? Maybe a riddle roll would... I think a riddle roll would be apt for that, yeah.
This is the part where we asked the dwarves if they brought explosives so we can plant them all underneath this fortress.
Okay. Yeah, so you can tell just by the way that the tunnel is shaped, this is probably some sort of like a worm-like goblin tunneling as opposed to a natural cavern.
Okay, so they know it's here. And the 40 or 50 feet that I've gone down so far, I haven't felt any other passages, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. I will go until the flickering light feels like it's... I'll go maybe another 20 feet or so until it feels like I can maybe make out. Is it a room that it's in, or is it still part of the tunnel?
So as you peek your head around a corner and you can see the floor kind of levels out from its rough-hewn stone. And you can see that it looks to be a floor of carven stone. This room itself is far older, you can tell, than the tunnel itself.
Probably part of the old fortress.
And you would guess that, yes, this is probably a repurposed room from when the fortress itself was built. And inside, you can see it looks to be a great cellar / storage / gathering hall. And it is almost filled to the brim with orcs. The room itself is almost filled with smoke. As you can see, almost unwisely, the orcs have built fires inside, and the smoke kind of hangs across the ceiling.
Monoxide, we're gonna lock them in there.
But you can see that they all gnash on some sort of meat that's been turning over spits. You can smell the grog taken out of these barrels in crude cups as they drunkenly swig their I don't know what you'd call it, their fell spirits.
Miragar will take note and head back.
You sure you don't want to shoot a fire? No, I'm kidding.
I'm just glad he didn't go up and go, I just gotta have a taste.
No, I have class.
I love it.
Say, hobbits like their food, but I do feel like they have standards.
Yes. And roasting mystery meat is not one of them.
It's back on the menu, boys.
All right, and you return to the company, and it seems as though nobody knows you're there still.
That's good.
I will let you guys know what I found.
Right.
And yeah, I think this might, as much as I think this could be a way for them to get in and out, I think this is more of just an airway. I mean, because if they're in the fortress cooking and doing all that stuff, then this might have just been a way for some of that to escape.
Perhaps, or perhaps, as we know, they don't like the sunlight. Maybe this is where they actually room and board their troops.
You said, did you have access to above from that room?
I don't know if I saw that much of the room. Did I see stairs or anything?
Yeah, you saw some stairs ascending to another level from this room.
Okay, so they're intact. They're not broken. They don't only go in and out this way. Okay, well, that's good to know. That would give us access to the inside of the fortress if we go this way.
Mm-hmm.
How many did you count?
I'm guessing
More than I felt safe counting.
You would guess that there were probably this is but a small piece of the underground tunnels and cellars, and there were several dozen in that room.
All told, do we feel like this definitely outnumbers our whole army? The group that we're seeing by a great number, double, or do we think that this is on par with our army? I'm just thinking total numbers, Moss. I'm not sure.
Oh, you asking me?
I'm not sure if we can tell, because I mean, you said dozens, and then there's a lot up here. I don't know how many are in our army in total right now.
So in your army right now, there's somewhere around 200, 250.
Okay.
But you would guess based on Miragar's reports, probably what you've seen along the walls, and kind of what you can kind of hear in your periphery. You would guess that it's hard to tell whether they vastly outnumber your army, but you would guess that there's definitely more orcs in this, orcs and other things in this fort than what you've brought with you.
All right. Well, we're going to have to be smart about this. So either we're going to have to try and lure some of them out, which may be not wise, or we're going to have to attack on two fronts.
Do I think that the goblins and orcs have to crawl or crouch through this tunnel? Or is it pretty big enough for them to, like, manageably walk through?
You guess that they'd probably have to stoop a little bit. It doesn't seem as though that this was... that this tunnel itself was meant for... as kind of a main thoroughfare. But... yeah, you'd guess that it'd probably be difficult for a large host of them to make their way out.
Okay.
I mean, that we can at least use to our advantage.
Alright. And based on the terrain, I'm guessing there's really no way to get to the other side.
That's just what the map says. The as you look, you can see that the cliffs itself are kind of rises up in a single platform, so you can make your way around pretty much the entire thing. Okay. And as you make your way around, you can see, looks as though there is another breach in the wall. Just over here. Shorn up in very much a similar way, with the very same stakes which have been driven into the rock to hopefully impede entry.
Just gonna continue on to see. Or is there another tunnel on this side?
Go ahead and give me an awareness roll.
Okay. There's some almost success. Oh, well, that's a...
I'm just going to say,
Damn.
Dagnabbit. Look at me rolling a 1 this time instead of a 2.
Thrush, you're more worried
Wow.
about the arrows.
The Hobbit knows.
Yeah. As you're kind of looking about, let's see, Larry and Miragar, you feel a faint cold breeze on your cheek as you pass by this area. You look and you can see it looks as though some of the stone from the fallen walls has actually been used to somewhat conceal another tunnel in this area.
Thrush, Larry, would you mind making a way? I can
Yeah.
work on this one in a little bit.
Larry will help move things out of the way as subtly as possible.
Give me an athletics check, first of all.
Who? Me?
Yeah, whoever's helping move some of this debris aside. And some of these rocks are quite large.
All of us, I guess. All three of us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Wow.
Get
Yeah.
down.
never mind. I do it by myself.
Okay. Success. Let's see.
Thrush is like, I loosened it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Aranel's not athletic, so.
Yeah, no, I'm waiting for them to move stuff so I can bounce down the tunnel. So
Okay, she's a little athletic, but she's not favored, so I'm not gonna do it.
And as you move these rocks aside, some of them tumble down and begin to start making noise. You're not sure if it's enough to raise any sort of alarm. You look up on top of the walls and you can see these goblins up here don't seem to take any notice of you down below. But I would ask for another stealth check real quick.
For all of us, or just one?
Whoever is going in.
oh, that's me.
Okay.
Oh, whoever's going in? Yeah, that's not me. Okay.
Okay.
Jeez, his hope point's saving my butt right now.
All right. So is it just it's just Miragar going in?
Is this a similarly sized tunnel? Like, could I fit in or no?
Yeah. You guess that based on the way that this is set up, this might be perhaps maybe an escape tunnel. It's hard to say. But given the fact that it's concealed and it is big enough for someone to traverse through of your size, Larry, so if you wanted to go through, you definitely could.
All right, then yeah, I'll take that 22 in stealth that I believe because I think I need it.
All right. And so as you make your way in, this is very much similar in that you can't necessarily see anything from the outside, but as you traverse in, you traverse 10, 20, 30, 40 feet, and it goes around winding curves, much in the same construction as the previous tunnel. It seems as though this was also carven out of the hill itself. Very jagged hewn stone and loose rock kind of litter the tunnel floor. when eventually you do see flickering light coming from around a corner, coming from what look to be much smaller sources. Not so much torches or campfires, but maybe perhaps candles.
All right. He'll stick his head in just to see what's going on out there. Doesn't sound like it's a big meeting or mead hall or something like the other side.
No, in fact, as you look inside, you can see it looks to be as though these are some sort of chambers for someone of status. You look and you can see you see a heavy fur-lined coat kind of laying on a ramshackled bedspread, just kind of sprawled out across the floor, with some hay kind of offering just a little bit of padding. You see a couple of tables and some chairs settled around this room. If you wanted to look around, you're more than welcome to, and see if you can find anything else.
Okay. What would that be? Scan, awareness?
That would be, if you're looking around, that'd be scan.
Right.
If you guys can go ahead and kidnap the leader, that'd be great.
That's what
I was about to say.
Thinking,
Is our boy the many-handed here? And is this the part where we figure out the game has a assassination feature that I wasn't aware of?
As you both look around, you look on one of the tables, and you can see that you spy an amulet. Shell, very similar to a couple that you've come into possession already, one of which was on Deo's corpse.
Miragar snags it.
And you continue looking around. Let's see.
I'd probably give Miragar I guess tell him, because he keeps handkerchiefs, and I don't know if you should touch that directly. It was very foul, the other one we saw.
Make sure he wraps it up in something then.
You continue looking around, and you can see that there are also 2 knives kind of laying out on the table. One of which seems very old, blackened steel, very jagged.
Does it look similar to my spear?
No, in fact, it does not.
Okay.
But you can tell that these are of somewhat crude craft.
Okay.
One of which seems very old, jagged. The other one seems much newer in make, but still just as jagged and crude.
Is there a lore roll or anything I could do to see if I could identify?
Yes, I would say either lore. If you have, let's see, you don't have shadow lore as a distinctive feature?
I do, because I'm a warden, yeah.
Oh, nice. Perfect. Yeah, if you have shadow lore, definitely roll a lore roll with a... I think if you spend hope on it, you get inspired, is how that works.
Mm-hmm.
Or a craft roll, whichever one.
Lore.
I'll roll. I guess I'll
Boo! Okay, so got it. So.
Craft roll.
Success with an Eye of Sauron. So that would be a... This is the first time we've actually come across this, but that's considered it's not the first time we've come across it, but it's the first time I remember to do it. So this is a success with a woe.
Okay.
And so, Miragar, you look at these knives, and you can tell that they bear distinct markings which you've read about previously. One of these knives, the older of the 2, was actually made in Angmar more than 1,000 years ago.
Ew.
And as you kind of pick it up, you feel this fell presence about it. You can tell that this is a weapon of power. And you feel this almost greed come about you. I need you to make me a shadow test for wisdom.
Take a fellowship point for that, buddy. We've got plenty at the moment.
Yes, and that does what again?
Makes it favored.
Favored, and then you can also
Favored.
set, if you want to take another one, since we have plenty, you can also put a hope on it.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and throw a hope at myself.
Yeah.
I saw those feet dice and I was like, oh.
Okay, very good. You feel this knife almost grip you, as if it wants you to take its scabbard and strap it to your belt, but you're able to put it down before it's able to grab a hold of you. The other, much newer blade, as you look about it, you can tell that this one looks as though it's got markings that you've also seen in things which you have read about. Kingdoms far to the south. Kingdoms, cities which have been taken over by the Dark Powers. Specifically one called Minas Morgul. Or Minas Ithil, as it used to be called. And it seems as though the markings on this blade itself presume that this blade was forged there.
But it's newer. Yeah, Miragar will.
Can I tell that something happened to Miragar when he touched this thing? Was that pretty visible to me?
Making an insight roll.
Okay. Yeah, I think Miragar's gonna put him in a bag, maybe cover him in a shirt or something,
Okay. Yeah, you can definitely tell that as Miragar grabbed a hold of the older blade, there was some sort of a look of his eyes grew squint, and this look of kind of desire crossed his face just before he snaps out of it and drops it on the table.
Alright, I'm gonna tell him, if we're gonna take these just to deny them to the orcs, maybe don't touch them directly. I get the feeling there's something fell about them.
Yes, they're very evil. They come from a place that Mordor has taken over, but
all right.
Strange that one is newer. It's as if the forges of this evil place are up and running again.
Well, perhaps Thrush's kin can tell us something. They have eyes all across the land.
Yeah, and Miragar will just kind of push them into a bag, kind of, and
do not touch them.
Yeah.
All right, and while all this is happening, Thrush and Aranel, I'll have you make me an awareness roll real quick.
Yeah, and then as that happens, I think Miragar will be like, we should probably leave. I think we've caused enough trouble here.
Gandalf.
Yeah.
And a great success.
Very nice. So as you all are kind of sitting outside of this tunnel, you can hear some back and forth talk from atop the walls as the goblins seem a little frantic. And just as their voices reach a high pitch, you can hear the sounds of two wolves begin to fight. Orcs begin to shout, and eventually you hear the sound of a troll let out a shout as one of the wolves moans in pain, as you hear this sound of an impact and what sounds to be cracking.
Can we tell by that bellow what sort of a troll it is?
Do you have any sort of
trolls?
Do you have any sort of shadow lore or enemy lore or anything?
He has rhymes of lore. So
Rhymes of lore. Okay.
So nothing specific. This is short verses created by many cultures. Remember significant facts from ancient history, which might be otherwise lost.
I don't know if that would necessarily apply. I would say if you wanted to give me a lore roll, you can, but I would take a die away from that, given that you can't see it and you're only going off the sound.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot as well. Yeah, I don't know anything, but...
Thrush knows.
Thrush recognizes.
Okay. So, Thrush, as you kind of listen in, you can tell that the sound of this troll, it's bellowing very deep and loud. It almost echoes off the walls, reverberates, and shakes the very foundation of the fortress itself. This is no troll which you have faced yet. This troll seems greater.
That would probably put Nelly to shame, whatever it is. Oh, we have news for the boys when they come back out. Speaking of that, where are they?
Yeah, before we leave, Flair's gonna do like one last cursory glance. Like, I doubt anyone would say keep blueprints or documents around here, given the people who live here. But he'll still look.
With those previous rolls, it doesn't seem as though there are any documents in here.
Okay.
Let me see.
Anything like an old ancient carving, like of a map that says you are here?
You see an old charcoal inscription on the wall. A man with his hands over the wall and a large nose that hangs over it that says Elroy was here.
Ah. All right. Makes sense.
I like it.
There's about 2% of the population that's going to know what that is.
I not approvingly.
All right, but it seems as though whatever was in this room, you can tell that you've probably found most of what is useful in this room. But you can definitely glean that whoever usually stays in this room is probably of some status.
All right. Do I think it's an orc that stays in here? Or this seems like accommodations for someone of greater stature?
Probably, based on the way that the room is kept, the fur-lined coat is kind of strewn across the floor. The bedding is none too comfortable. The lighting in here does not seem bright enough to illuminate much of anything, especially if someone were to read something. And with the lack of reading materials or anything of the sort, you would guess that this is probably the lair of some orc of status.
Perhaps one with many hands.
Hard to tell.
All right. I just kind of nod to Miragar, like, let's get out of here. We will make our way
Agreed.
out.
And so you make your way back out of the fortress itself.
So, which direction did we hear that troll coming from?
You heard it coming from somewhere inside the walls.
Yeah, it's up inside the main part of the fortress.
Yeah, it's probably
Like, as soon as she sees the boys, she's like,
okay.
we need to
We
leave.
need to leave. They have a troll, a great troll. I've never heard anything of its like before. And wolves.
All right.
I don't know what you found, but let's discuss it out there.
Yes, Miragar found some interesting things that your kin should probably see.
That's great. Okay.
Okay, we found like 4 potential entryways, I guess, so that's not bad. I guess 5 if you count the main door, but no. Not unless the dwarves secretly brought whatever the Middle-earth equivalent of C4 is in great numbers. Which, if that was the case, I would just say, oh, we'll just plant a bunch of explosives underneath the place and just level the hill and not even bother with it. Call it a day.
So you found things?
I would kind of gesture to Miragar, like, you found
Yes, some
an amulet similar to the one we found on Deor's body.
And I found 2 knives that look like they maybe have been forged. Well,
One looks
an evil
fairly
place.
Yes, one looks fairly ancient. The other looks a little more recent, but Miragar can tell you. It seemed like he understood what they are.
I've seen some of the markings before in books I've read. It had a different name before it was taken over by Mordor. It's down south. Minas Morgul, I think, is what it is now.
All right. Well, at least they can't use them right now. But if you took something, they're going to find it out relatively soon. So we should probably get back to the army and discuss what we're going to do in quick order.
Yes. And when
I agree.
when Miragar touched one of them, it looked like there was something truly fell about it. He had to fight off a power.
You touched. All right.
Well, he overcame it and then made sure not to touch it anymore.
Wise. All
Yes.
right.
That's why I suggest that perhaps your kin might have better insight into this. I would ask the elves, but well, we only brought 2. And unfortunately, I don't think our lore master friend Elrond would have joined us anyways.
Poor Aranel's never going to live that down.
Live what down?
Oh, no.
I never expected the
terrible.
elves to help us, I'll be honest.
Like, it was the long shot to begin with.
No,
but
yeah,
my
I wasn't
rolls just
expecting it.
Yeah.
Kept
Longest
with
of long
the
shots.
status quo.
Yeah.
And
I mean, we like I said last time, we left with more elves than we came with since your brothers showed up, so
that's true.
we doubled our
100%
elves.
increase. There you
Yeah,
go.
exactly.
All right. And so, you all make your way back to your army's encampment, well out of the sight of the archers atop the walls of the fort of Rath Sereg. You look around and you can see that they have begun setting up camp. They look around kind of unsure as to what the next course of action is, as they don't know, are they marching headlong into battle immediately, or are we going to stop, collaborate, and listen to what you all have to say?
Yeah.
And with that, I think we are going to end tonight's episode.